Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. So guys, as you guys are aware, Chris Eubank is fighting this weekend against Liam Williams. Smash the like button on this video, hit the subscribe button, share the video. It really helps the channel. I really need your guys' help, and obviously I thank you guys for your support, because without your help I wouldn't be where I am on YouTube. So thank you very much. So keep supporting, keep returning, keep watching the videos fully. Most importantly, hit the subscribe button, like the video, smash the like button. Really important to smash the like button. It really helps my algorithm, really helps the channel. So yeah, smash the like button. Guys, let's get into it. Let's talk about Chris Eubank. Chris Eubank wants to fight Gennady Golovkin. What do I think of a Golovkin-Eubank fight? I think it's a great fight. I think even at this point, it's a very good fight. Some people think that, it's past its best. I was having an argument, not an argument, but, talking with somebody saying that, it's past its best. Golovkin's not what it was. But people act like Eubank is some elite fighter. He's not an elite fighter. He's a guy that has a lot of technical flaws. And even Golovkin at 40 years of age is a formidable fighter. He's a champion even at this point. And if you were to ask me, I still favor Golovkin to beat Eubank. I think some people think that it's the right time for Eubank to fight him, and I don't think he can beat Golovkin. I might be wrong, but I don't still see him beating Golovkin. I don't. Gennady Golovkin, in my opinion, would still beat Chris Eubank Jr. I'm telling you, Gennady Golovkin is still a very good fighter. His jab alone is a problem, and the last thing that leaves you is power. Now, Golovkin has a style that would suit Chris Eubank, but the problem is that Eubank's never come across power and that boxing IQ and that strength before. He's never had to face anybody on that kind of level. If you look at the guys that he fought in Groves, who was big and strong, and Groves is nowhere near as strong as Golovkin. He's got nowhere near the toughness or chin that Golovkin's got. And just the overall, Golovkin's a more skilled fighter than George Groves. His jab, his right hand, his left hook. Chris Eubank would get beat quite comfortably by Gennady Golovkin. Even now, I feel like Eubank is too fundamentally flawed a fighter to beat someone like Gennady Golovkin. I think people, when they see somebody with fast hands, and they think that automatically he can outwork. I actually think even the old Eubank, which would let his hands go a little bit more than what he does now, would probably stand a better chance. Even then, he would probably, in my opinion, would lose. I think if he had fought Golovkin when, he should have fought him when, he lost his pen and Brook jumped in, I think Golovkin would have battered him and stopped him then. And I think now it would be a bit more competitive, but I still favor Golovkin quite heavily in that fight. I don't see Eubank beating Gennady Golovkin. Golovkin, even though he's at the end of his career, he's still, for me, technically too sound a fighter to lose to somebody like Chris Eubank. I think he would beat Eubank quite comfortably. And that's just my honest opinion. I can't see Eubank winning that fight. People may disagree. People may say, well, Imran, no, Eubank isn't good. Golovkin's too old. But I just don't think Eubank is good enough to beat someone like Golovkin. I think Golovkin, even at this point, would be the best guy that he's been in the ring with. I think this version of Golovkin beats Saunders, especially the Saunders that, beat Eubank. And this version of Golovkin would beat Groves. So, especially the Groves, any version of Groves, by the way. Groves ain't going to be able to deal with that kind of toughness. And Golovkin hits too hard for Groves. He's too much of a... Froch is different. Froch isn't really a pressure fighter. Froch is more of a guy that likes to box at long distance. Golovkin's a pressure fighter, and George Groves would not be able to keep that pressure off. I actually think that would be about a 3-4 round fight. To be honest with you, I think Golovkin would knock him out quite quickly, especially with George Groves not having the great chin. He went down quite easy, and I don't really think he had anything to keep Golovkin off, and I think Golovkin's pressure, it would be too much. I personally think even at this point, Golovkin would outbox and possibly stop Eubank, irrespective of Eubank's chin. What people got to understand is, Eubank's got a great chin. Yeah, he has got a great chin. He has got a great chin. But if you get hit by Golovkin constantly, which he would do, it doesn't matter how good your chin is, because Eubank hasn't got no power. He's not a power puncher. he's not really going to be able to hurt Golovkin. Golovkin's got an iron chin. So those, for Golovkin, there'd be pity-pat punches that he'll be throwing. And to be honest with you, he doesn't even throw enough of them anymore. You know, he's become more selective. And as I said, I don't think he has the ring intelligence to become selective. He needs to be more gung-ho in his approach when he's fighting. But against Golovkin, that's dangerous anyway, because if you're opening yourself up, Golovkin's got the power to wipe you out. It doesn't matter how good your chin is. If Golovkin hits Eubank consistently, he's going to fall over eventually. It doesn't matter how tough you are. You know, it's like Eubank and Canelo. Eubank's got a good chin, but if Canelo hits him constantly, he's going to fall over. They hit too hard, and they put a lot of pressure on you, and they're constant. You know, and they've got better ring craft, better boxing IQ. Eubank is very limited in that skill set. You know, he's not the most intelligent fighter. He's trying to be more selective in his work, but I actually think he's looking worse than previously. Or in his last couple of fights, I thought he looked terrible, by the way. You know, against the southpaw that he fought, I thought he looked horrible. Against Marcus Morrison, I don't think he looked great either. So Eubank has got him put in a great performance against Liam Williams. And this will be a test, because Liam Williams to me is like a poor version of Golovkin. Liam Williams to me is a very poor, I think he's a poor version, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, because I like Liam Williams. I actually think Liam Williams is a good fighter, and I even said I won't be shocked if Liam Williams pulls off an upset here, especially if Eubank doesn't let his hands go like he used to in the past. I think Liam Williams might even win a points decision here. I do favour Eubank, but it's not by much. I think Williams can win the fight. Especially, like I said, if Eubank is being selective and just not throwing as many punches as he needs to, I think he could find himself in big trouble. But I personally, this is my personal opinion, I feel, in my personal opinion, that a Chris Eubank Gennady Golovkin fight could definitely take place. It could definitely take place after Liam Williams, if he wins Chris Eubank. Because I think Golovkin at this point, I don't know what's happening with Murata. Eubank would be a good payday for him, and I think he'd be very confident that he beats Chris Eubank. So yeah, I like that fight. I do like that fight for Chris Eubank. He'll get his opportunity that he's wanted. I don't think they wanted that opportunity 5-6 years ago. If they did, I just think they were messing around. I think it was a bit of a publicity stunt. That's what I think. Eubank says he wanted the fight, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, they were making ridiculous demands, according to Eddie Hearn. And if you really want the fight, why would you make those ridiculous demands? If you really want a fight with Gennady Golovkin, you're not going to make ridiculous demands. You want the fight. And Eddie Hearn and you know, Matchroom have got a history of putting on great fights. They deliver the fights, and they delivered Chris Eubank the fight. And I personally think, going off Chris Eubank Sr.'s history with other promoters and the fact that what they've said about him, apart from Kalle Sauerland, who actually said he was very easy to deal with, but Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn haven't had good things to say about those guys. But that aside, I don't think they would. I don't think it made sense at that point, because I think Golovkin would have beat him quite comfortably. Now it makes a lot more sense, because it's probably a more competitive fight now, just because of the fact that Golovkin is on the slide. I still think Golovkin would have too much for him, and Golovkin would beat him, and beat him quite convincingly, just because I think he's technically more of a sound fighter. I still think Golovkin can apply the same pressure, and most importantly, I think Golovkin's jab, anyone that's got a good jab gives Eubank a lot of trouble, and Golovkin's jab is iron, you know, he's got an iron rod jab, and I just think that will give Eubank a lot of trouble, and I don't think Eubank's got any power to really keep Golovkin off, and I think Golovkin's going to pressure him. I do think Golovkin's style will make Eubank throw more punches, if you see what I mean, because I think he'll have to. I just don't think he'll be able to keep Golovkin off. I think Golovkin will keep marching forward, and eventually I think I won't be surprised if there's a late stoppage or quite a wide points decision, just because I think Golovkin would outwork him. I think he'd put Eubank on the back foot, and I think I actually think he'll stop him personally. I just think that Eubank is too technically flawed. He doesn't punch hard enough to keep someone like Golovkin off, even at this age, and I think Golovkin will stop him. It doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter how good your chin is. If you haven't got the defensive skills and the IQ to, you know, avoid punches. Like Canelo, for example. Canelo got hit with a lot of shots, but Canelo used to ride a lot of the shots. Canelo made Golovkin miss as well. Eubank hasn't got that kind of skill, so Eubank's going to be taking a lot of flush shots off Golovkin, and Golovkin hits too hard for you to take too many shots off him. I don't think there's many fighters that can take too many flush shots of Golovkin consistently throughout the fight. I think he'll wear you down, and I just see him wearing down Chris Eubank Jr. and stopping him late. That's just my honest opinion on that fight. So I still think, even at 40, I still think Golovkin beats Chris Eubank. You know, some people seem to think that all of a sudden, because Golovkin's past his best, it doesn't matter if Golovkin's levels above Eubank. So even that, if he's dropped a 1 or 2 levels, he's still on par, in my opinion, still above, because he's fundamentally the more sound fighter. You know, he's got the amateur pedigree, so that experience and the skill set that he's got alone, even at this stage, for me, will be too much for someone like Chris Eubank, who actually in his last couple of fights has been looking quite poor. And styles make fights. Golovkin's still got the power. He's still going to pressure you, and if you haven't got the punch power to keep him off, then you know you're in for a long night. And I think Eubank will be in for a long night if he fights Golovkin. You know, Golovkin's still a great fighter. I think people haven't really seen, like, it's hard to say because we haven't really seen Golovkin in there. We've seen him have one poor performance against Derevyanchenko, and everyone's saying he's washed up and he's past his best, he's no good anymore. But we can't really judge of one fight. Anyone can have a bad night. Floyd Mayweather had a bad fight against he had one of his best performances against Canelo. Then he fought Maidana and everybody was like, he's washed up. Then he fought Pacquiao and put in a display. Styles make fights. Styles make fights. Just because a guy has a bad performance doesn't mean he's washed up. It just means styles make fights at times. You know, Derevyanchenko fought out of his skin that night. Golovkin had an off night. But I still think that he would have too much in the tank for someone like Chris Eubank, who, like I said, unfortunately hasn't got the fundamental skills that someone like Golovkin has. And that would be the difference even at this stage, because Golovkin in his prime was levels above Eubank and it would have been kind of a mismatch. Now the fight is more competitive. I still think Golovkin would be a sound favourite to win, but the fight becomes closer because Golovkin maybe has come down a level or two from what he was. Like I said, we need to see against another top elite opponent for us to judge that. But we're going off the Derevyanchenko fight. But that's, like I said, everyone can have an off night. I still think Golovkin's still a credible guy. And I actually think, even at 40, if Golovkin had fought guys like Andre, Charlo and all those guys, I still think he was more than capable of beating all of them. All of them. But yeah, I'm interested. I still think Gennady Golovkin would knock out Chris Eubank. But what do you guys think? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.